Sometimes dead is better. Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture with Pat. So this weekend, the new Pet Sematary has hit theaters. This was a film that I was really looking forward to. As you can see, I'm a pretty big fan of the original, and I actually just got a chance to read the book not too long ago. So that was pretty cool. So this was something that I was, really looking forward to. When I saw the original when I was fairly young, it creeped me out quite a bit. Actually scared the shit out of me. So even to this day, I rewatched it fairly recently because they put out the 30th anniversary edition, and parts of it still really creep me out. So I think it's held up pretty well. Overall, still effective movie. Granted, there are some aspects that are maybe a little bit dated. So that was one of the reasons why I was, looking forward to this reboot. It's one of my favorite, horror movies from the 80s. So was definitely interested to see what they could do. Plus, with this, they had the duo behind Starry Eyes, which was a film that, if you guys haven't seen, came out a couple of years ago, and I thought that was done overall, pretty well, and was really creepy. So if you haven't seen that, definitely check it out. So with them behind it, I was really interested to see what they could do. And before we get into the review, I also just want to mention that there will be some minor spoilers, I guess. I'm going to talk about one of the trailers, or actually a couple of the trailers, what happened in there, because they did show one kind of major change in the trailer that I'm going to kind of reference, but I won't go into too many details. But if you guys want to go into this film without seeing anything, go ahead and watch the movie and then come back and watch this review. So without further ado, for you guys who don't know the story, basically this film is about this family, the Creeds. They move from Boston to Maine. They're looking to kind of get away from things, and they end up moving to this house kind of out in middle of nowhere, and they end up finding out that there's a pet cemetery on their property, and things just kind of go downhill from there, let's say. So as far as things that I liked with this film, I thought the cinematography was done pretty well overall. I thought the opening shots, it was a pretty solid opening, kind of overview, looking over like the trees into the woods. And then when they first go, Ellie first stumbles upon the pet cemetery. That whole sequence I thought was, shot really well. And then some of the scenes which you see kind of in the trailers, Judd and Lewis when they're in the woods, it's at nighttime and it's foggy and it's really, pretty creepy. So I thought, the atmosphere in those couple sequences and, was just shot and done very well. So that was something that I thought they did a good job with this film. I also thought, as far as characters go, Ellie was definitely a highlight of this film. She, I think in the first film, she kind of came off a little annoying at times. But I really didn't find that the case here. So that was a nice change up. And the actress, which I can't think of her name right now, I thought she did a good job. And kind of referencing what I was talking about, earlier in the video, as you do see in one of the trailers, she's the one who ends up getting killed and brought back to life. So she does a good job not only as, when she's alive, but when she's brought back from the cemetery as well. I thought she was, a pretty creepy little kid. One of the other characters that I also liked in this film was Church, the cat. I like the original one, and that's still pretty creepy, but I think the cat that they had in this film, there was just a couple of shots, specifically one where he's licking blood off his lips, and then also another shot which you see kind of in the trailer, but Lewis brings the cat somewhere and kind of leaves him. And when he's driving away, the cat's just looking at him, and that just kind of, left me a little uneasy. So I thought the cat that they got was, pretty creepy, and I think, a little bit of an improvement from the first film. Now, the third thing that, I think, I commend them for, doing with this remake, because I'm definitely not one person that's against remakes. Granted, a lot of them aren't very good, but at least with these guys, they went into this film and, as we saw in that one trailer, they made a pretty major change with that, but there's also a good amount of other changes made throughout the film, some things left out, so it wasn't completely predictable, if you had seen the original movie and read the book. So that was something that, I commend them for at least trying to give it a different take rather than just doing a shot for shot remake. Because I hate when films do that just because we already have, a lot of times that classic original version. And if you're doing a shot for shot remake, you're pretty much setting yourself up for failure. So they definitely went a different route in a couple different directions. And I, commend them for doing that. So, but that is, that kind of wraps up my, my pros for the movie. Now we're going to go into the cons because this film was really disappointing for me, and that sucks because, like I said, I was, really looking forward to this film. I mentioned some of the characters, Ellie and Church, that I thought were an improvement, from the first film. But as far as everybody else, Lewis, Rachel, Zelda, Judd, I thought all those characters were done much better in the original film. Specifically, as far as Lewis and Judd's characters go, they just didn't have that same relationship like they did as Dale Midkiff and Fred Gwynn did in the original film. And also Fred Gwynn just playing Judge. I think his, he was just kind of a more likable presence, more friendly kind of, neighbor, old man, where John Lithgow, who's playing Judd in the new one, he did have, some times where, cute moments with like Ellie and stuff like that, but he definitely, when they first meet him, he kind of comes off as kind of this creepy old man. And I just really, my personal opinion, and I think I've seen this with some other people, that I think Fred Gwynn was much better. Jason Clarke was okay as Lewis, but again, I would have to give it to Dale Midkiff in the original one, especially as far as some of the emotional scenes go. Once the film kind of, was moving along, and after Ellie dies and stuff like that, I thought that Dale pulled off some of those scenes a lot better than Jason did. There was a couple scenes that I thought, Jason, especially dealing with like Ellie once she's brought back from the pet cemetery, that I thought that were, done pretty well. But overall, still would have to give it to Dale. And then as far as Zelda goes, she was severely underused in this film and in the original film. As everybody, who has seen that or has read the books knows, that she was a really, really creepy character, scared the shit out of a lot of people as kids, and, made her presence known, even though she wasn't in the film a lot, but when she was, she definitely creeped everyone out. So in this film, I just feel like she was underutilized, and that really sucks. She was almost kind of reverted to as, a couple jump scares, which, to me felt kind of cheap. I also think that, while I did mention as far as pros go that, the cinematography was done well, I think, overall as a film, the atmosphere and the creepiness just of the original, that wasn't really present in this film. The original one, you just kind of felt that right from the beginning, you felt that sense of dread. And I just didn't really feel that, to the same level, I should say, with this remake. So that was kind of unfortunate because, in the original, you just pretty much always feel like, something bad is, about to happen, and you just didn't really get that sense here. I think my biggest problem, though, that I might have with the film is that because, we were going through most of the film, and like I said, there's quite a bit that's taken out, which I mentioned as a pro, but is also a con for me because compared to like the book and the original movie, there's just certain things that are taken out, and I feel like for the book and the original movie really added to certain scenes and developed certain characters better, and by taking them out here, it just feels like some things were a little rushed or didn't make as much sense. So that was something that kind of bothered me. But I still, we were going through the film, and I was still, giving it a chance. I was like, okay, this is an all right film. But then we got to the end, and it just ends on like a really abrupt ending, and it just really kind of ruined the movie for me. So Was really unhappy with with the choice that they made, and compared to like the original film, I just thought they did it much better there, which is pretty similar to what they did in the book as well. So they made their choices. They decided to do a couple things differently, which like I said, I gotta commend them for at least trying, because rather than not just do the same thing over and over again. But at the same time, those choices I feel like weren't the right ones and took quite a bit away from this film. So overall, I left. I was, pretty dissatisfied. Like I said, this is one of my favorite horror films from the '80s. Holds a special place to me, and that might be maybe, why I didn't like it as much. For some people, if you never read the book or saw the original movie going into this, you might find a little bit more enjoyment out of it. I think actually one of my buddies was telling me that he has seen the original, but it's been a while and never read the book, and he liked the film overall. So I feel like if, like I said, if you haven't seen the original or read the book and you're going into this, just as like a horror movie, you might find a little bit more enjoyment out of it. But for the people that are hardcore Stephen King fans, read the book and saw the original movie and really hold those close to their heart like I do, I don't think you're gonna care for this film too much. Overall, I'm gonna give this film a 5 out of 10, and it hurts me to say that because, like I said, I really wanted this to be awesome. It was great a couple years ago, but this just didn't do it for me. So let me know what you guys thought of the film if you have seen it, and also let me know if if you did see it, what your thoughts are, and as far as if you have seen the original movie and have read the book, and if that swayed your opinion in any one way or the other. So put your comments down below. As always, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to hit subscribe as well as hit the thumbs up button. That really helps. And leave and check out some of my other videos as well. So actually have an upcoming interview that's I'm going to be talking to Tom Matthews. If you don't know him, he's from Return of the Living Dead 1 and 2, and he also played Tommy Jarvis in Friday the 13th Part 6. So keep an eye out for that. And as always, make sure to check back for more Pop Culture with Pat.